Hi Magda, how are you?
I'm good in you, thanks, Mara. Excited to get this X off my chest.
Excited, say I. Right, we've been talking about X, and I mean, a couple of years ago we started talking about the deep symbolism in iron. We had a session on the Book of Judges with the iron chariots, and you broke open so much deeper meanings in the current modern society where we live regarding iron. And now you've done the same with X. So I know a little bit. I'm probably going to recognize a lot that you're going to show me. But
I
you've
hope
gone
so.
down a rabbit hole the last couple of months regarding this X.
Yes. And yeah, Mara, the more you explore, the more information is out there. It's just everywhere. I just realized you will be busy with X forever. But I just wanted to highlight, I think, the most important X's that I found very profound. So, yes, Mara, I can't even explain where this obsession with X came from, but I've noticed it in television, in films, and then somebody mentioned it on YouTube in a short, and I thought there must be something more to it. So, yes, I totally got obsessed with the X, and what a discovery it was. So, I would like to share some information with you. So, if you would allow me to share my screen with you, and yeah, then I can take you on this X journey.
So it's all about the letter X. You know, X, Y, Z. It's about that last letter X.
Yes. And you know what? Once you start with the X, you very soon realize everything goes hand in hand, and it actually branches out to other symbols as well. So, but today I specifically just want to focus on the X because you will see very soon it will go over to the cross as we know in Christianity. But I do feel that the cross specifically, I think that deserves um, yeah, its own little space and time. So for now, I just want to focus on the letter X.
Yeah, you can share your screen, and then the cross itself, we choose to call it the execution stake. And if you really go into the symbolism behind the actual cross, you'll find that it has ancient Egyptian, Chaldean, and Babylonian significance. And very recently, I also, the last, I think about 6 years ago, I learned about the holy
Yeah,
towel, the T, but the T and the cross is so similar. But yeah, there's
yes,
such deep rabbit holes in each one of these symbols. But like Albert Pike, the highest degree Freemason, the writer of morals and dogma, like he says,
yes,
the real government rules the world through symbolism.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think a lot of people ask me, but what's your obsession with this X? And I mean, what does it mean at the end of the day? But you know what? For me, it's really a matter of discerning between evil and good. And how will you be able to discern in this world if you don't know the symbolism and the signs? So I think this is something that every believer should be aware of because you might
Mm.
just get yourself in a position or, have something that is very near or dear to you and you don't even realize the symbolism behind it.
Yeah.
Okay, Morris, I would like to share my screen with you and yes, let's work through it. And please, if you see anything, yeah, I would like to have your input as well.
Yeah, while I was thinking, while you're sharing your screen, I was thinking about our discussion today, and I realized the way in which I write Christmas. When you quickly want to write Christmas, even in the shops, how are they writing Christmas these days? Or for the last, 20 years, I remember since I
Exactly.
was a child, you'll get the little Xmas. Yeah, so
Yes,
while I was
yes.
thinking, where is this X coming from? What does it really represent? And if we take the X, and once we're done with your whole presentation, we can actually then see who this X represents, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All
Okay.
right, over to you.
All right. So this is a quote from Confucius, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and he says, "Signs and symbols rule the world, not words nor law." And I found that to be very true. And this verse really made a difference for me in searching for the X, because it's really about discerning both good and evil. So this is Hebrews 5 verse 14. It says, "But solid fruit belongs to those who are full age, that is, those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil." And it's absolutely about discerning for me.
Very much. A lot of people say that, we want to see Satan behind every rock these days. Um, this verse says we have our senses exercised. So it means you have to exercise. You have to actually lift every rock. And when you do, you actually do find Satan behind every single rock.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, Yeshua is the rock. And Satan is behind all the false rocks, and he's under elke klip. So there are a lot of people these days that feel they rather want to put their heads in the sand like an ostrich, because there's just too much. Satan is just behind every corner. Somebody said to me the other day, "Now you want to tell me I can't do this and this and this and this anymore. All of that is wrong." And I said, well, if you look at what scriptures say, and if you look at where these traditions and these signs and these symbols are coming from, that they are coming from demonic paganism, then yes, you have to stop doing all of it. But people don't want to make those changes because it takes them out of their comfort zones.
Absolutely. And, it's not a matter of, I think you also get so overwhelmed as you discover everything. I'm sure the process is the same for you. You get to a point where you just get absolutely overwhelmed and you realize, but it's everywhere. And, it's a dark place. And I don't think a lot of people want to really explore or face the reality of the evilness around them. Okay, so we know X is everywhere. So X in math, X-rays. When you vote, you vote with an X. We are Generation X, and then of course the X on the back of the train. That is, for obvious reasons, to make sure there's not a card missing. Then we know X as something for toxic substances, poison, and then RX. It's literally when you write a prescription, so it's visible there as well. And then we have our flags. This is the flag of Scotland, and then crossroads, another X. So this is the X that we are familiar with. Okay, and I was quite surprised when I realized you actually get Schedule X meds. So this is a list of narcotic and psychotropic substances. This will contain medications like ketamine. So it's really, it's not medicine that should not be sold without a warning.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, we have a few flags. Then we have the UK, the flag of the UK, Scotland, I think it's Burundi, and Jamaica. So a few of them that have an X. And we'll get to how the X came to be on the flags as well. And then you can, of course, have X in a positive way. So you can use it as a multiplication, and then X marks the spot for a treasure hunt. And if you want to sign, but you can't sign, or you're illiterate, you're going to use the X. Again, X in voting, and then 2 chromosomes of X.
But what this makes me think about, when you sign and you can't write, you make an X. The X represents you. So the X is in your place. Just like we said with Xmas, with Christmas, the X is in the place of Christ. Not that we believe in Christmas, that even that Christ is a false one. But still, how the false Messiah got himself X'd into everything. Even how we can put the X forward as if it is ourselves. You vote with an X. So everything you believe in, everything you're hoping for this, not that I'm voting, but for
Yes.
this a political party that you are putting your hope and your trust and your tax money and everything in. You are choosing them by putting your confidence in them through an X.
Correct. Correct. And as we progress to the next slides, I feel it's really profound that X mark that you are making as you are voting your cast. As you're casting your vote, sorry. Let's continue. Okay, so X can also be negative, like in death or ecstasy, drugs. And then if you mark a tree with an X, it means the tree will, be chopped off. And then we all have X on our computers. I mean, this is
Ah,
literally,
yeah.
you close your
Wow.
program with it. So you basically X out of the program, and then you have you'll see this often, your smiley faces. Here's another one where it actually means this is your death emoji. Okay, so X is openly. So this is just a few products that you can find X on. So you'll see it's kind of obvious how all the new products these days comes with an X as well. So, and then this emoji with the cross hands, we will explore that a little bit later, but that's an X as well. Okay, so X can also be hidden. And can you spot the X here, Mada?
Can I do what?
Can you spot the X?
No, I can't.
Okay, just have a look at the curtains at the back of the lady.
Oh, the curtains.
Yes. Okay, so X can be disguised, and we'll see it in a lot of things if you really start looking for it. So the movie is called X, and it's a horror movie. I'll probably never watch it. And so here you can see the X. So the X is very profound throughout this whole movie. But this is just a little example of how the X can be hidden as well.
Mm.
Okay, then we have Planet X, the hypothetical planet that exists
Mm.
or don't exist. I'm sure I don't need to elaborate on this. And then we have our famous X,
Mm.
that is Elon Musk, who changed Twitter to X, and then the X proudly displayed on the building, and of course Starlink, also with an X. And here we have Mr. Elon Musk with the X sign as well.
Mm.
Okay, so let's explore X a little bit. So X is your 24th letter in the Latin and English alphabet. The language origin from Latin and Greek. It represents the number 10 in the Roman numeral. It also represents the unknown in algebra. And then X symbol are used for multiplication. And then, of course, it also represents non-binary gender on forms. If
Very
that was,
interesting.
I didn't
That one,
realize
yeah,
that.
it's very interesting now.
And then X are also used to indicate a collaboration between two parties in arts and fashion. So you'll see, I think we can then say today's session will be Mada X Magda. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, of course, here's a little bit of symbolism behind X. So X is for danger, known, unknown, death, end of something. And the end of something is really something that fascinates me. And then a kiss, rejection. And then, of course, we have XO, sending kisses and hugs. And of course, if you have your triple X, it's for
What's
adult content.
X-ray? Is it, yeah, X-ray is when nuclear particles is shot through your body so that they can take an X-ray of your bones. But X is also, is it called X-rayed adult movies? So what?
Yes, X-rated movies. Correct.
X,
Correct.
yeah,
X-rated.
X-rate, yes, X-rated movies. Yeah. Why is X chosen for the pornography industry? Very interesting.
Very interesting. And we'll see this a little bit later. It goes hand in hand with the XO, the hugs and the kisses. Okay. So this was very interesting. If you think about it, in numerology, and I just want to make it clear to the viewers, we don't believe in numerology or anything like that, but the elite does, and they are going to use it constantly. So if you look at X from a numerology viewpoint, X is the 24th letter. So if you take 2 plus 4, because remember we have to get a single digit, then you get 6. So X also represents 6. So this is just a little math. If you want to actually write code and you want to write the letters 666, as in the mark of the beast, you will actually divide it by 2, goes all the way till you get 0, and your code will actually, you will read it from the bottom upwards. So it will be 0, 1, 0, double 0, etc. And
Yeah.
then if you really think about it, your binary code exists out of ones and zeros. So
Yes, it
then we go
does.
back to the X and a numeral value, which is 10. So I do find it very interesting that everything just goes hand in hand, and I don't think it's by accident.
Yeah, I don't think it's coincidence because currently the world is run by zeros and ones.
Correct. And I mean, that is the path going forward, that everybody's exploring. Everything should be in a binary code. So this was quite interesting. So this is the etymology of technology. So when you look at where the word X comes from, so this is just one from Wikipedia that I got. This is specifically text. So text is, okay, the way to describe this is if you want to write a book and you want to do it effortlessly, sorry, you will actually go and write almost like a code to say you want a big header and you want a specific font. So it's almost like coding, but it's not coding. It's more about writing a paper very efficiently. So when you look at the word text, it will also tell you it's an abbreviation of techne, which is both for art and craft. Now keep that art and craft in the back of your mind because we're really going to explore art and craft a little bit later. And then the root word of technical, so it tells you it's the root word of technical as well. And then when you look at the left, you will see text. So that's the root word. That's where we get techne from.
Okay, Mara, when we look at the etymology of the word technology, we find that the word technology comes from the root word techne, which means art, skill, and craft in work. And I found that very interesting. And when we look at the word logia, it means speaking, discourse, treatise, doctrine, or science. Now keep that words arts and craft in the back of your mind. Now, this is quite fascinating. This is just some of the companies or computing systems or programs that start with the letter X. X is certainly very popular when it comes to technology. Okay, so still on the page of numerology, I also find it very strange that most of the streaming services that keeps the masses entertained has a X in their name. So here we have TEDx, Fox News, Netflix, Showmax. But let's have a look at Fox News. So when you apply numerology to the word Fox, you get 666. So remember we said X is the 24th letter in the alphabet, and in numerology we need to get a single digit. So we will take 2 plus 4 and we will get 6. But when you do the same to the rest of the word, you get a 6 with the letter O and 6 with the letter X. And I just wonder if this is a coincidence. Let's have a look at what the number 10 means in divination. So when we look at the X or number 10 in divination, we see the following. The number 10 card is the Wheel of Fortune card or the 10 of Swords, and the meaning is completion, end of a cycle, or transformation. And I think we both know that what these words means to the New World Order, as they are busy with a global transformation, completing and ending this cycle for sure. Now, when we go into paganism, we see that the X symbol have a very prophetic meaning. So when we look at the meanings of the X in the Elder Furtak runes, the X symbol means giving, balance, and crossroads. And I think the word crossroads really sums it up for me, especially in the times we are currently living in. It also means exchange, sacrifice, sacred union, innate talents, that is natural talents, and generosity. And isn't a sacred union very profound here? Because if we are not in a sacred union with the Creator, then we are certainly choosing the alternative gods of this world by default. I would like to play you a quick video, Mara.
Gebo. This is Gebo, the sacred symbol of give and take. It literally means gift and is very much associated with giving but also receiving. In other words, a fair exchange, not a bribe. When we write Xmas instead of Christmas, the X represents this rune, and it governs not only the process of exchange, but also deep gratitude, forgiveness and appreciation. Drawing Gable on your hand invites both generosity and a magical exchange into your life. It creates harmony between you and your loved one and is a symbol of loyalty and sacred marriage or mystical union. So the next time you write or text an X as a kiss, this is Gable, you're sending a gift.
So let's explore Gabo a little further. It also says Gabo governs sex magic, and I think this really explains why X is used as a sex symbol. It says it's a mystical union and a sacred marriage between partners, understanding of the true meaning of gifting and binding, giving of oneself from within, harmony between brothers and sisters and lovers, favors, contracts, obligations, debt, and oath-taking. Now listen to this. When we say Xmas, the X is unconsciously representative of this rune. In the Havamal, the cosmic law of compensation is written as, better not to overpledge, as a gift demands a gift, and no man is so generous he will jib at accepting a gift in return for a gift. The exchange of gifts, whether physical or otherwise, is a highly meaningful act, as is the idea of trade. Now let's have a look at spiritualism. Again, we can see that the number 10, which represents X as a Roman numeral, means divine guidance. But from whom? So it also means the end of one cycle and the start of a new cycle, unity and wholeness, manifestation and creativity, divine guidance, and self-realization and fulfillment. When we look into the occult, to spot the X, we also see the skull and bones from secret societies with the bones placed in the X. And this is just a quote from Jim Tresner in the Scottish Rite Journal. He was a 33-degree Mason. And he says, an X is an ancient symbol for change or transformation, long associated in medieval and Renaissance art with the coming of the Messiah, who shall make all things new. It's very interesting that he doesn't mention which Messiah. And then from Tex Mars, from his book Dark Majesty, he says the Illuminist or Masonic meaning of the X is simply this. It's a sign of Osiris, the great Egyptian sun god. Now this really sums it up for me. Tex Mars is also the author of the book Codex Magica, and it sums up the mysterious X as the following. It says, X is the Ra, the Egyptian sun god. X is also the sign of devotion to Osiris. X is a tumbling cross, which is called a saltire. And X as a sex symbol. Also, X as a sign of death. Now, remember we talked about the arts and the craft earlier, and when we look at the word technology. So when we merge technology and art and craft, we get, for certainly, Hollywood entertainment. So this is one of just a few of 270-degree cinemas in the world. And of course, it's named the X screen. And just once again, just look at the image. We can see the 3 X's are being displayed here. And when we circle back to the triple X in numerology, it can clearly also be 666. Now, you certainly have to give it to them. They are very creative with the letter X. So here are just 3 posters where X is used extremely well in the display. We see the Dead Eyes, once again, confirming death in X, Star Wars, and Madam X. X is just everywhere in the entertainment industry. So this is only a few movies and series with the X in the title or either in the background. Just look at how clever the design is for the movie X with a lady with a crossed legs at the top second to the left. And of course we all have know about The Walking Dead. There's an X as well. And then of course X-Men. So this is a BBC series called Noughts and Crosses. Now make a mental note of the noughts and the crosses because we're going to get back to it a little bit later. Just look at all the X or the crosses in this poster. Do you notice the X on the buildings behind the BBC logo? It's almost disguised, and once again it's obvious that in most cases they focus on reaching your subconsciousness with the X when they hide it. Now just look at this. This is the relaunch for X-Men. And can you guess when it will be relaunched? On the 10th of July 2024. Now just have a look at the subtitle. From the Ashes, a New Beginning. It sounds very familiar. It sounds like Genesis 6 all over again, doesn't it? And the amount of X's on this poster is incredible. You can see from at the top, you can see the X-Men, triple X again. And then if you look to the left, you will see there's an X on their belts, an X on their chest. It's incredible. Here's just another few examples of X-Men clips. At the corner bottom right, we see Wolverine with his arms in an X position. Now, Mara, this is where it gets really arrogant in my opinion. It says, it's time to face the music. Okay, so maybe it's just me reading too much into it. But just hold on and look at the comment in the right top. It says, get with it. So who exactly are they addressing?
Yeah, I was wondering when we were going to look at the America's Got Talent and the X Factor, because you again, you know, the X's on the at America's Got Talent, you've got the 3 X's at the top there. And this is also, these guys are ruling the world. In every country in the world, this is the #1 show.
Correct. Now, if you think about it, you actually have to stand on an X to perform. And if your performance is not up to standard, you're being X'd out. 3 X's means you're off the show. If you have 3 positive X's, it means you can move on. And then we have this little cute poster here in the right corner where they are walking with the 3 X's. I mean, come on. So they basically tell you right to your face what this X is about. And then this one was quite interesting. The X-Files, it says the truth is still out there. And then Blacklist, it says I love a good ending. And here we see X-Men again, Days of Future Past. And then Maxine, if you can actually see you have your 3 X's here as well. You know, the big X in the middle, the 2 X's on the side. And it says, Fame's a killer. Isn't that right? And then we have the aliens, extraterrestrial, and it says, they do not come in peace. And this one was quite out of the ordinary because it's got nothing to do with cars. So this is from Fast and the Furious, and it says the end of the road begins, and he has a very symbolic little cross hanging between his hands. Very interesting.
Yeah, the X-Files is all about going back to Genesis 6 again. The X-Files is just investigating Genesis 6.
Exactly. So now we can have a look at Hollywood. So here's Madonna with her album, I believe it was 2019, Madame X. And you see, she's just displaying this X on every occasion. Okay, and then when we have a little bit, remember we said arts and crafts. And you can see it right through Hollywood, through the music industry. So yes, I promise you, Mara, I cannot even put all of the slides that I have available into one presentation. We'll be busy until 2025. So here again, you can see Avril Lavigne. So it's not really a new thing. You know, this is going back to the 90s and 80s. You have Nirvana, Ed Sheeran. Look at the 3 X's in white beneath his name. And then Katy Perry by the Music Awards. And then we have Trevor Noah, also by Fox Emmys. You can see the eggs are cleverly displayed in the background, just some background, nothing to it. And this one, it shouldn't come as a shock, but I was, I'm not going to say disappointed. I was surprised because this is our South African bands, and this is just a few. So this guy on the left is Saint Peter. You can see is actually situated in the X position. Then we have the Jewels Fantasties, big red X, and then if you look to the right, you can actually see the X in the clouds. Very clever.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this is just the bottom right is Snotkop, and this is from his song Boere Pompie. But if you actually play the video in, I think it was 1 minute and 40 seconds, you can see the big X at the back, which is apparently supposed to be lights, the city lights, representing the city lights. And if you play the video a little further, you'll actually see on his right-hand side, you will actually see a lot more X's. And then Joe Black. Voel jy die genade? Okay. So, despite Hollywood, we also have all our comic strips. It's everywhere. This is just the few that I could get. Of course, we are familiar with Wonder Woman, X Factor, Excellent, Suicide Squad. I mean, Suicide Squad is like X-Men. There's not enough place for X's in that movie. Again, this was very profound for me, Death Battle. And then this was interesting. This is from a Japanese anime. It's Laws, and then as well, X Laws. This is what it's called. And let's go to the next slide. Okay, and then our kiddies entertainment. I mean, I don't even know where to start with the kiddies entertainment. So Ben 10, well, I'm not so familiar with the shows, but from what I gathered, Ben 10, again, the 10, we have the 10, destroy all aliens. And then he actually has this magical watch where he can summon 10 demons. Okay. And then obviously Cartoon Network and even Disney. If you have a look at the logo, Disney also have a little X. Okay. All right, then we look into religions, and we can see actually your swastika is also, nothing but an X with a little twist. So we can see it from the cross here in a church in Ethiopia. We can find it on a floor here in Mexico. Again, the Christian cross. I don't want to elaborate too much on the Christian cross because, as I said, I think it deserves a whole presentation by itself.
On its own, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me just move on one. Okay, this was interesting. So there was actually a Time magazine covers that actually had the X, right over certain people's faces, basically announcing, either death or the end. So we have 2020, the worst year ever. So they've marked that with the X. And then I believe this is the flag of Japan, Hitler, Saddam Hussein, and Bin Laden. And I can't remember who this guy in the left corner is.
And all these guys are also singing, they're all singing from the same song sheet.
Exactly. Okay, then we have Malcolm X. So he's very much, I believe he changed his religion to Islam, and then that's where the X also comes from. And I believe there was a Louis X as well in history, also the same agenda. And then this is very fascinating when you look at architecture. So here we have at the top, so this is the X building. Quite interesting. The architect for that specific building is called Barcode and Or, if I'm not mistaken. So then we have the X house on the left, and this left bottom building is actually a bank in China. And then next to it on the bottom is the administration office. And then what you see in the middle is actually a piece of art, and it was displayed in New York. during Valentine's. Again, the X. And then on the far right, you will see another, this is the China Bank Tower. Again, the three X's stacked on top of each other. And then bottom left, this is actually a building in Iran. Okay. Now, do you recognize this?
Yeah, it's the pyramids, and there's an X,
Yes.
if you look at it from the top.
So this was quite interesting to me. So you found your X there in the pyramids as well. Okay, so when we move over to gaming, you have, again, yes, Call of Duty, Shadows Return. Very interesting topic. Interesting title. And then you can see all the X's in the background. You know what? If it was just a picture and it was Sage, by all means, perhaps you are going to see an X where you think you see an X. But I don't believe there's any errors when it comes to digital footage.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure, whoever designed this, they really knew what they were doing.
Yeah. No, it's all done with a reason. That's why it's so successful. They know what they're doing, and they're hiding it really well. They're all running the world through symbolism.
Absolutely. So another few things where we see X's is in knots and crosses. So this was very interesting to me because, everything has an origin. Okay, so this actually goes way back. So it's called tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row, noughts and crosses, 3 man's morris, or X's and O's. So they actually found some panels, roof panels, with the inscription of the game in Egypt, in the Karnak temples, and in ancient Rome, they played it as Terni Lapili. Okay, so on the right side, you can see the original game and how it started, and it actually became popular in the 70s again. And in the 10th and 11th century, Pope Boniface actually banned it because it had elements of pagan and black magic.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Very interesting. Okay, so this shouldn't come as a shocker, but here we have the X again. So this is just some of the crown jewels of the British family. And I actually wanted to add a few pages of all the other 26 kings and queens because they have the same symbol displayed over and over. So they definitely use it as a cross, as in the St. Andrew's cross, the saltire. But yeah, very, very prominently displayed.
Yeah.
And here we get to the X, the sign of Osiris. And you can see Hollywood are just, riddled with it. If you look at, does it even look natural, like a natural position for you? Doesn't. And Xmas, our famous X. Okay, so where does Christianity's X fit in? Look at this.
Wow.
So this is actually a revival, the 21st to the 30th June 2024. Mara, just excuse me for a second.
Yeah, they have to, like we said, they have to put their agents, like with Fox News, they have to put their agents on both sides. So that's why we cannot be on either one of those sides. We have to be way over there under the tree of life. But here under the tree of knowledge, when you think you're on the good side, you're still eating from the serpent's tree of knowledge.
Precisely. And what does Stephen Furtick and, what is this lady's name?
Yeah, I used to listen to her when I was still in church. What was her name? Oh, she's so well known. Billionaire woman. Yeah.
Joyce Meyer. What are they doing signaling the X here?
Yeah. But also, what are they preaching?
Precisely. So this should be, if you haven't exercised your spiritual discernment, you would just eat everything up for cake.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was interesting. This is in Cape Town. It's happening this year, 19 to 21 April. And here's Dr. Rodney Howard Brown. So when I saw the poster, oh, I mean, this is all just, feel good Christianity, but this was so evident for me. I mean, look at the clever design of the poster, and then if you actually look at photos that you can take down from the internet, you can actually see, the stand that he's using. So, yeah, I mean, how
And
obvious do
again,
you want to
if you
make it?
look at the slogan, you said yourself, when you look at the fine print of the movies, you'll see, what they are really prophesying and teaching us. But look at the slogan, like you said, these Christian pastors are all they've only got feel good messages, and look at
Yes,
what their conference is going to be about: Holy Ghost and fire.
correct.
That's all. Holy Ghost and fire. Let the fire of
Exactly.
God come down from heaven and bless us and burn us and take away all our problems.
Correct.
That's it.
Correct.
It's richdom and freedom and prosperity, no law,
Yes,
no responsibility, no persecution, no preparation, no tribulation, no getting to know the word of God, the prophetic meaning, not prophetic, they prophesy. Oh, they are all prophets. I prophesy that God is not going to let you go through tribulation, you're going to be raptured. The prophetic is found in the Torah, in Moses and the prophets. That's where the prophetic is found. God declares the end from the beginning. All these guys know what to do is to make the people feel good. And that is why they are put up, just like we saw Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and all these guys. They are put up in their positions to bring and draw the masses in.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so this is where the X in the Saltire cross actually originates then from. So this is in St. Andrew's Church in Patra in Greece. So as history will tell us that St. Andrew was actually crucified on this cross. There's absolutely no evidence. There's no biblical evidence. Yet we have this X everywhere. So this is just a church, and you can see the big X as well. And then here's just a few pictures, statues again. This one is quite interesting. This is Thomas Cranmer, and he is actually a reformer. And he wrote a book, but it's funny to me. I don't know what the two X's actually has to do with the book as a reformer in his period of time. So that was quite interesting. And then just another few art led windows. So here you can see the X on your right hand side. It's basically everywhere. If there's not a cross,
Yeah.
it's somewhere in the design.
Mm.
Again, Saint Andrew. Okay, so now we know where the X comes from. And this is also where Scotland says why they chose the X.
Well, if you look at
Okay.
the bottom of that picture, sorry if you go back, the left-hand side picture at the bottom, you'll find the Crusaders, the cross of the Crusaders. And if you turn that a little way, you'll also find the X.
Correct, correct. That goes hand in hand, absolutely. And then, okay, this is just the artwork portraying Saint Peter. St. Andrew, sorry. Okay, so this is the legend of the satyr. So just like Constantine had a sign in the clouds, so did King Agnes MacFergus also had the same experience. So tradition says that near this place, this is now what the plaque says on the left. Tradition says that near this place, in times remote, Pictish and Scottish warriors about to defeat an army of Northumbrians saw against a blue sky a great white cross like St. Andrew's, and in its image made a banner which became the flag of Scotland. So yet again, they are making the connection between whatever vision they had and then whatever belief they have about Saint Andrew, and just bringing it in such a nice way that it looks absolutely like a Christian thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the papal insignia that we get in Rome. I mean, would you like to count the X's? It's ridiculous, really, because you have your X where the two keys are crossed, and this is now said to be the keys of Peter, and then you have the X's cleverly disguised here in the keys as well. But look how far the X really goes back. So there's your X as well. If we look into Egypt, so you can see this is now apparently, if I'm correct, Osiris and then Tutankhamun. This was actually found on the walls in Tutankhamun's grave site.
And they always also, just like Hollywood is doing all that, they also held the staff and the crooks. They held it in an X way. If you can see here, the figure on the right hand side, he's holding it in an X.
Okay, so speaking of,
you can see it, yeah.
So it actually, so the crook acts as a shepherd's staff that symbolize the government that leads the flock. The flail acts as a tool to goad the sheep, not guide, to goad the sheep, and act as a whip or tool to punish the sheep. And then the symbol of Osiris, the god of the dead. So this is absolutely about power. You know, this is what it comes down to. And then here we have also Mentupet, which is also an Egyptian god. And he, of course, also have the same sign. And then Osiris. And then Anne Rice and Christopher Rice actually wrote a book, Ramses the Damned, which is basically about the Egyptian gods being resurrected in, you know, another time period.
This is exactly what X is representing. Yes. Now you are touching something.
Correct. So it's absolutely about just a resurrection. Okay, so here we have Aleister Crowley, famous occultist, and Ramses II, the same position, and Osiris again. And I don't know if you knew about the X ring.
No.
Okay, so the X ring, very, very fascinating. So there's a university called the St. Francis Xavier University in Canada, and they actually give an X ring to the graduates every year. Actually, it happens on the 3rd of December each year, which is also the day of Saint Andrew. I believe he's the day he died. What did you call it? Can't be a celebration. Okay, but now, who was this Francis Xavier? Very interesting. So, born 7 April 1506 to December 1552, he was a Catholic missionary and saint and a companion of Ignatius of Loyola and the co-founder of the Society of Jesus, which is the Jesuits. He was a Jesuit priest. And here again, you can see on the picture, on the painting, you know, the X, the hands. So it's the same old story, different era.
I don't think a lot of the listeners has any idea who Ignatius Loyola or the Jesuits are. So maybe just in 1 second, 2 seconds, Ignatius brought in the whole false New Age esoteric Lucifer worship with a Christian smell. He brought that into religion. And the Jesuits gave themselves to, they will offer and sacrifice their lives to make sure that this religion will survive.
Thank you, Mara. So when you actually try to trace back the X ring, it takes a very unexpected turn because now you get back to Roman. And there was actually a legion, an army. And this specific one was apparently, one of the best. And they used to have an X ring. So here is some X rings, ancient X rings. that you can purchase if you have enough money with the X. So the X ring is nothing new, you know. Goes all the way back to Roman Empire.
Wow.
So this is just a little explanation on the whole legion. So it was the 10th legion. Again, there we have the 10, and they actually decided to do a ring, you know. So very, very interesting if you delve a little bit into that.
Mm.
And then, of course, you can also see, you know, they've chosen symbols like the bull for the holy animal of the goddess Venus. So it all goes back to the gods.
All goes back to paganism and replacing the true God. And it's
Absolutely.
interesting how in the universities you belong to a fraternity. I see it's called Legio Ex Fratensis. So
Yes.
all these fraternities in the universities. I belong to Omega fraternity or to the Alpha,
Yes.
you know, fraternity. And then they also wear their logos and they have their secret rituals and blah, blah, blah.
Amazing. Okay, but if you go back a little bit further, or if you just start delving into other religions and beliefs, then we get to, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, Zochipile.
Zochipili.
Yeah, Zochipile. But again, you see the X, and he was actually the god of arts, games, dance, flowers, and song in the Aztec mythology.
Very interesting. Hollywood arts and crafts and entertainment and hip hop dancing and pop music and yeah, very interesting.
So now, if you look at the pictures, you can actually see the X everywhere. I mean, it's very prominent. So it's not just, you know, a fake Christian thing. It definitely goes back to all religions, all cultures.
Mm.
And I was surprised to find this actually in African cultures as well. So, I mean, there you have the X over the face mask. You have the X on the forehead, X on the cheek, here the right bottom. So it's absolutely amazing. And I mean, they all have their own African deities, yet, you know, the X also surfaces in this religion.
But in every religion of the world, you've shown us how many religions know. In all of them, what does X represent? Osiris.
Correct. So it goes all the way back to Osiris, to Nimrod, back to the beginning of the Bible.
Back to the beginning where one God replaces the true God. And the whole world wonders after this false God and think this false God is the true God.
Absolutely. So yes, Mara, that's all from me. But you know what? In this journey, I think I've came to the conclusion that because for me, I couldn't understand why so many X's. You know, I do believe that this world system, doesn't have a choice, but you know, it also has to present itself to you, and you can make a conscious decision about following which way. But for the life of me, I couldn't understand why everything is X's, because you will see it in a movie, for instance. What is that new movie that we have watched not too long ago about the
end of the world? What? Where there was a lockdown.
Yes. That was quite interesting to me. Sorry, I just want to fix my screen here.
And in that movie, they continuously told us to obey NASA.
Yes. And I mean, even if you just start watching that movie from the beginning again, you will be surprised how many X's you get once again. So at the end of the day, I was wondering why so many X's. I mean, isn't one enough, you know, in the movie or the poster or... But I came to the conclusion that, you know, perhaps it's a form of worship for them, displaying all this multiple X's all over the show. It's not just about, you know, a signature or assigning it. I think it's definitely a form of worship as well. So
well, whether they're doing it consciously, because a lot of them can say, I don't worship X, I don't worship Satan or whatever, whether you do it consciously or not. I mean, most of the buildings where you showed the X was the financial financial buildings.
Yes.
So the whole financial industry, the entertainment industry, the government industry, the religion industry, arts, culture, pop music, movies, all the industry are saturated with this pagan symbol. And of course,
Yes.
there are other symbols as well. We are not saying X is
Yes.
the only symbol.
Correct.
But I mean, you can take every symbol and it's going to take you all the way back to the original replacement of the God of the Bible.
Absolutely. And I was wondering about something, because as I was busy with this X, it became very obvious to me that it seems like X is assigned to a certain group, arts, craft, music, song. And I was wondering about that. Is there maybe a hierarchy or levels where politicians would, worship one god or one deity? And maybe in arts and craft it will be, Osiris. So yeah, I really want to explore that as well, because it seems that not everybody is using, the same symbolism as well. I mean, we know about the one eye, for example. I mean, if you go down that route, most of Hollywood, it's the same story. But yes, I think it's definitely something to explore as well, to see, which
But
departments is
at
assigned
the
to
end of
which
the
department.
day, looking at all the religions today, it doesn't matter, who or what you serve in whichever religion. When you take the summary of the Bible, there's only two paths. There is
Yes,
the God who created everything, and then there's everybody else. So
that's
it
true.
doesn't matter what God or what X or what belief you had. If it wasn't in that God's way, if you didn't do the will of the
Yes,
God of creation, all these other gods all lead to the same. Everything's going to lead to Satan,
yes, all
because
led
none
to
of these
Roman.
gods came by their own. All of them was an invention of Satan. So
True.
you've only got God and Satan. There isn't another choice. There's no other God. So
Yes,
the myriad of demigods and superheroes and giants of the old days and kings of the world today, and even looking at all the other gods which they call by the various names, all of
yes,
those still lead down one path, which will be destruction, because you are not standing in covenant with the God of creation.
correct. And you don't have that unity with the God of creation. You absolutely have the unity with something else. So yes, but this was fascinating. It really gave me sleepless nights, because once you
Mm.
start going down this rabbit hole, there's no ending.
Yeah, and I mean, you haven't really even scratched the surface. I mean, if you
Absolutely.
continue down this road, like you said, then you get the double X's, you get the triple X's.
Yes,
There's still so much more. And then the further you go down the X, you're going to find the sacred tau.
correct.
And I promise you, that is another rabbit hole that you will never find the end of. It
Mm.
is astronomical. But anyway,
It's amazing. But yes, thank you. Thank you for your time, Maud. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think I'm going to have my first good night's sleep, not obsessing about X.
you
And
got it off your chest.
I got it off my chest.
Okay. Now, Magda, thank you very much. This was extremely interesting. I mean, I don't really go into magazines or a lot of movies or stuff like that these days. So I might be slightly out of the loop. But I mean, I've seen a lot of these pictures you've shown. I've seen maybe 85% of them. But now that you've shown all of them together on one slide, we can all realize how big this phenomena of the X really is. And if we look at something as simple as you assigning an X when you vote, you sign an X when you replace your signature. X replaces Christ in Christmas. It is very, very easy. X represents Osiris. Osiris is the god who replaced Yotevafe. The beast is going to replace the true Messiah. So all of this is culminating, taking the world into this new era where
Yes.
there will be no more religion. You'll own nothing. You'll be happy. You'll believe nothing. You'll be nothing. Neither woman, male, female. You'll just be content with your world leaders that will give
Yes.
you just enough to survive. And the more your senses are dulled in this environment where you just do what your governments are telling you, your senses are dulled because more and more the zeros and the ones of computers and entertainment and movies and those goggles they wear, they watch
Yes.
these goggles the whole time and they watch their cell phones the whole time. Your world is going to be ruled by X. And
Absolutely.
your senses will be dulled to such an extent that people will lose their ability to even hear the call of the shepherd that is trying to call them back to their only true God there is. Because every religion
Yes.
says, my God is the true creator, my God is this, my God is that. But they're all sitting under the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Correct.
Because
And
there's none of these gods, a lot of them has the same characteristics, but none of them has the correct characteristics of the God of the Bible.
correct. And I think it's actually true that, I mean, at the end of the day, everything is about entertainment these days. It's literally about, I mean, how often do you hear people say, I don't have time? But, I mean, take the screen time away. How much time do you still have left?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
No,
yes.
absolutely. Listen, this was exciting and fascinating. And once you discover more stuff, we'll do a follow-up. You can even maybe start preparing to do a presentation on the actual cross,
Yes.
which is
that-
just
that is
another, because a lot of people will say they only saw crosses, but it's nothing else than the X.
exactly.
So
And
the tau, the cross, and the X are all the same thing. So we will have to go down the rabbit hole of the actual cross as well.
sure. But thank you, Mara. Have a lovely day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much, and well done. Well
Thanks, Mara.
done. Yeah. May you be blessed. May you have a lovely weekend, and I'll speak to you soon.